Now, so one of the problems that you have to solve in the world, because it's so full of detail and so complex, is how do you actually see the world? How do you actually perceive it? And it isn't really self-evident that that's a problem, because you think when you look at the world that it just presents itself to you. But it's a tremendously complicated problem, and that's partly why developing artificial intelligence systems that can actually see the world and act in it in any real way has proved to be a much more difficult problem than people had originally supposed. Because, you know, we were told maybe from the early 60s onwards that such things as speech to text or object recognition or robots that could operate in the world were only 2 or 3 years away. And well, I mean, we're in a situation now where there are some fairly complicated robots built, but they're still really in their nascent form. And it's because perceiving the world and then figuring out how to act in it turns out to be a much more complicated problem than we originally thought, because the borders between things are not self-evident. And what level of resolution you should be perceiving things at for, say, maximal functional utility is also not self-evident. It's also tied up very strangely and in ways we don't understand with the nature of your embodiment, you know. So, for example, we tend to see things that are handy because we can pick them up and manipulate them, and we can make use of them. And so to some degree, our brains are evolved to make the world manifest itself to us in a set of discrete usable tools. That's a reasonable way of thinking about it. And they're discrete and usable because we have a certain kind of biological platform, you know, because we have hands and mouths, and because we walk in a bipedal manner, then it's logical for us to break up the world in a manner that makes operating in this body maximally useful.